Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome back to another ECLA Online Learning Center session. My name is Martin. I am the Legal Project Manager at ECLA based in Brussels. And today we are very excited to welcome back Knowliah to talk a bit more in depth about how to actually convince the C-level to make specific improvements within the legal department. And without further ado, I will give the floor over to C.
Thank you very much, Martin. Good morning, or wherever you're calling in from. Have a great day and welcome to this new webinar. It's our first one after the summer break. My name is Sien Bode. I work for the company Knowliah, and today I have with me two digital legal experts. As I mentioned before, it's a very broad audience. We have people calling in from all over the world. We're very happy to see you all back today. A little flashback to our previous webinars. Someone might already know them or were there. Before summer, we did a couple of webinars about different topics. If you missed out one of them, please do not hesitate to visit our website. You can rewatch them whenever you want. For today, how to define and sell your digital plans to the C-level. Some people are maybe hoping to implement an intelligent matter management platform these days, or they are dreaming about a convenient contract lifecycle management tool. A lot of very interesting plans, but you have maybe no clue how to defend these projects to the C-level. And that's where our digital legal experts are going to guide you through today. We have Hans van Heegen and Yves Lefebvre. Some might already know them, but please, gentlemen, introduce you to the audience again.
Thank you, Sien. So my name is Hans van Heegen. I'm the founder and CEO of Knowliah, and I'm in the world of information and knowledge management since over 30 years. And a lot of those years were also linked to legal topics for previous employers or even within Knowliah. So I think we can use a lot of experience from more than 200, 300 customers over the last 21 years.
Thank you, Hans. Welcome, everyone. My name is Yves Lefebvre. I've been with Knowliah for almost 10 years, mainly interacting with legal departments across the globe, challenging them, helping them and supporting them with technology, with software to improve their legal operations in different use cases. And we're here today to share with you how you can actually sell this to your C-level in order to be able to improve your service levels and your legal operations.
Thank you very much, Yves, and also Hans. We all noticed that you are working for Knowliah for several years, but can you tell us a little bit more about the company itself, Yves?
Yes, thank you, Sien. So Knowliah is a suite for enterprise legal management, offering different use cases ranging from contract lifecycle management to legal entity management towards legal dispute management, a knowledge hub, legal client portal. So all the legal operations, not only for legal counsel, but also for all stakeholders involved internally in your organization or outside your organization. We do this for small teams towards very large teams across the globe. We're happy to be referenced by Gartner, which is an American international organization, representing us in a list of representative vendors worldwide for the domains of activity that we have. We have users spread around the world in different industries. So regardless the industry that you're working, it is always focused on legal operations. And we're happy that we can state that we have over 20,000 users in a global context, multilingual, of course, to support you in your day-to-day legal operations.
Thank you very much, Yves. For the people who want to know more, you can see it already on the slide. There's a lot of information about Knowliah. A lot also happened this summer, so please do not hesitate to read this also afterwards. But to kick off the webinar, as we always do, we have a question. It's going about how to define and sell your digital plans to the C-level. And if you think about it now, how would you do that? Which type of arguments would you use? I'm going to start a poll in a couple of seconds. You can see the answers on the slide, but I will also say them in a couple of seconds And please do not hesitate to share your feedback. So, are you going to use the digital team arguments? Are you going to convince the C-level with technology arguments? Or maybe risk-related ones, efficiency and financial arguments, or arguments that maybe are based on a comparison to the competition? I see that people are voting very actively at the moment. All the votes are coming in. Or maybe if you use other arguments, please do not hesitate to let us know in the chat box below. Okay. The last votes are coming in. If you haven't made your decision, please do so. You can also choose for multiple answers if you're going to use a series of arguments. I will close the poll in 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and normally you can see the results. Yep, all right. Digital legal experts, what do you think of the results of this poll? Most people would use efficiency and financial arguments, and the arguments based on a comparison to the competition hasn't been selected.
Well, actually, that's not surprising. Efficiency and financial arguments are the most important for C-level to make decisions upon. In the end, it's always bottom line, what comes out of it and what will bring added value, what bring return on investment. But it's just that it's so difficult for a legal team looking at software, looking at solutions to support legal operations, to translate that in financial metrics to prove that there's actually a gain in efficiency and a reducing of costs. And it's exactly that reason why we're here and why we're having this webinar, to share with you how you can actually support yourself in giving the necessary metrics and the necessary proof towards your C-level in order to be able to introduce such tools and such solutions into your organization.
Thank you, Yves. Hans, any thoughts about the results?
Well, the only thing that surprises me a little bit is that risk is only the half of the number of votes compared to efficiency. I believe risk is also an argument that's very sensible on C-level in organizations, but we come back to that later on.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And then the floor is yours, Hans. Tell us more about defining and realizing the digital plans.
Well, basically, I want to share with you an approach or a vision on how to convince C-levels. Some of them have a commercial background, some of them have an engineering background or an economic background. Very few have a legal background. So you need to understand that those people think in a different way, and especially engineers, as I am, sorry about that. They think in a structured way and they want to make decisions in a structured way, although they not always do it like that. So I prepared together with the colleagues a little framework on how you can build your story on making your team digital and making it clear to the organization that it has an added value. And for that, we divided it into 3 steps. First, about your plan. Second, about the arguments. And 3 best practices on how to realize that plan. So if we dive into the first topic about your digital plan, basically, you have your needs within the organization, and then you have a growth path. You cannot do everything at once, And not everything in digitalization of your legal team is as urgent as certain topics. And not each topic has the same value, impact, positive impact for your organization. So if we look to the first step on preparation, you have your requirements and your priorities within the team. Most of you don't have an issue on defining them. Maybe you can have an issue on prioritizing them, but that will come later on, will be clear later on if we go along in that framework. Important to take into account in your preparation is how are your internal interactions? How do your business colleagues look to the legal team? What are they expecting from the legal team? And that is in the same way, what does management expect? What are they demanding? And since you cannot do everything at once, be aware that probably digitalization will take 2, max 3 years. It's very rare that we have customers that do everything within 1 year. Even in a phased approach, you have your day-to-day work. So be aware that it will be spread in years in time. When we look to a first step, then we always see popping up those 3 items. Of course, it depends on your internal priorities. It depends on your focus within the legal team. But basically, finding, not missing important information in regard of legal matters, legal matter management itself, and then management of your entities, of your corporate documents, of your mandates, your board meetings and other meetings. Those are the 3 things that appear the most across all our customers. And Yves, I believe you have some examples on that.
Yes, so a couple of examples to make it really tangible. Search and find, as Hans mentioned, is a very important one. The ability, it's in our vision, in our experience with legal counsel and legal professional worldwide, it always comes down to a basic requirement, a basic need is the ability to search and to find. And we make a clear distinction between searching and finding. And therefore you need an intuitive tool, a search bar that allows you to actually search across everything. Google wise. So that means that you can search within content, within scanned PDF documents, within attachments of email, etc. So across different sources, always respecting security, of course, which is very important, but allowing you to access what you need. Searching on large volumes of information also gives you large volumes of results. And this is not always what you want. So you need metadata filters to be able to filter down your search results. And to be able to have those metadata, you need intelligent software, because you won't do it yourself. You won't attribute metadata to every document and email. You don't have the time, nor the willingness, nor the discipline to do so. So the automatic attribution of metadata is very important in your search experience. Besides search, you also require to have your legal matters centralized. Certainly, if you're a decentralized department working in a larger organization, people want to access, want to have ability to consult the data, the documents, the email that are related to certain matters, but they need to be centralized. And you need to have a 360-degree view on all relevant matters. Not everything, but all what is relevant, again with security, depending on your profile. And a matter can take different forms. It can be a contractual matter, just as it can be a litigation matter, or it can be a project matter or an advice matter. And they need to be able to create it automatically as well through collaboration supporting features. And another example is the legal entity management. in many organizations, you have corporate housekeeping, you have different legal entities of the group that need to be managed as well, where you have a lot of administrative tasks like meeting obligations, like shareholders that need to be updated, like mandates that need to be managed, that need to be renewed, etc., with notifications, with overviews, with workflows, integrated with signing tools, etc. And also the ability to create charts. How is the organization structured? Because banks and auditors ask you that kind of information, and you need to be able to provide it easily.
Thank you, Yves. Now, again, as an average, across all our customers, what we see in a second phase is mainly things about contract drafting, contract lifecycle, and specific in-depth information on special types of contracts. So contract drafting is about the clause library, is about reuse standardized clauses, knowing that on clauses you have a formal position and potential alternative positions in case of negotiation. When it comes to a contract life cycle, it goes from creation, negotiation, signing, the operational use, but also the closure of a contract has specific tasks and needs and notifications required. And when you are dealing in a certain domain, in a certain sector, it might then end up that you have extra needs on, for example, lease contracts. If you talk about the retail sector, there are a number of specifics that are required for the retail sector when it comes to lease contracts of shops or shopping malls. The same can be applied on service contracts or on IT service contracts or on HR contracts. But you can probably list other types of special contracts where you need more in-depth risk assessment, criteria that need to be managed and so on. So that's all possible in the next step.
Also some examples, some tangible examples here. Contract lifecycle management. In almost every discussion and introduction that we have with organizations across the globe, legal departments, but definitely also all other stakeholders, definitely when it comes to contract lifecycle management, it's not at all a legal operation, it's an organizational operation. And you have different stakeholders there. And you have different steps. You have to ranging from the creation of a contract towards the revision, the negotiation, the approval, the digital signing, interacting with tools like DocuSign, Adobe Sign, etc., the archiving of the signed contract, the management of the signed contract, but also the interaction with your payment data. Are the milestones met of my contract? And the data, I'm not managing it as a legal counsel, but it is managed in another department, but I need to have access to that information. It needs to be linked. And then the ability, of course, to be able to search across legacy documents, legacy contracts, but also related information and reporting. So the whole life cycle of a contract is, of course, not only managed by one department, it's managed by different departments. So different applications, different interactions need to be able to support you in that. Another one is the email. You open your email in the morning, you close your email in the evening, and throughout the day you're constantly working in email. That will be tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow it will remain like this. Probably in the future the importance of email will diminish, but today it's still a very driving factor of your day-to-day operations, whether it's internally or in your collaboration with external and third parties. Email, whether it's Outlook or Gmail, it doesn't matter. You need to have an integration enabling you to automatically archive email that are relevant into the right matters. If it's a contract matter or a litigation matter or even related to an entity, those emails should be, or the system that helps you in there should be able to intelligently pick up the relevant and only those relevant emails and centralize them. Again, respecting security, of course, but you should not be leaving your email account, because then it becomes, again, cumbersome and you have too much effort, which you don't need, of course. And then another one is the approval processes across the organization. a CFO who needs to approve, he needs to be able to just click on a link in an email. He won't go to a platform where everything is properly prepared for him. He won't have the time nor the knowledge or know how to. He just needs to receive an email, and from there on, everything needs to be automated and secured, of course, but the process needs to be integrated into your organization. And of course, when it comes to signing, you need to be able to facilitate the signing process by integration with signing hubs like DocuSign, Adobe Sign, and others to support you in that process. Very important in also convincing your top management in investing in tools like that, in digitalizing the legal department and the legal operations to avoid risks like we mentioned in the beginning, but definitely to increase efficiency and in the end, of course, reducing the costs.
Thank you, Yves. Now, if we look further down the road, then we see projects or sub-implementations when it comes to IP management or litigation management, where a distinction is made between complaints, claims, and disputes as a degree of legal impact. And very important, sometimes even in an earlier step together with contract lifecycle management, is a legal client portal. Legal client portal where your business colleagues can, as like you can raise IT tickets, you can raise legal tickets, legal questions for advice to the legal team, so that in the legal team you can more reuse earlier answers and advices, and that you don't lose in your email box or in a colleague's email box important questions from your business colleagues. Another important element of a legal client portal is the contract request, where you prepare an intelligent contract template based on clauses, intelligence, conditions, and so on. Your business colleague completes a couple of questions in a form, and based on that, the contract is generated, a draft is generated, a contract matter is created, and you are notified about the fact that the business colleague indirectly creates a new contract matter, so that you can follow it up, revise, approve, depending on your internal procedure. And that same legal client portal also contains a knowledge hub, a kind of Wikipedia with your legal knowledge, so that your business colleagues always can have first access to that general legal content, avoiding potentially extra questions, or at least making your business colleagues smarter on legal topics.
Indeed, Hans, thank you. A couple of examples again to make it concrete is litigation management, like Hans just mentioned, to avoid administration, loss of information. You need to have a tool that allows you to easily centralize litigation data, interacting with other applications if necessary, but at least having a 360-degree view on the status of your litigation, on payment status, on provisions, on all the litigation documents that are linked to that, but also the correspondence, the email that you have always at hand if ever needed in a court case. You need proof, you need an email, you need a document, that you have it at hand. Another one is, like Hans also mentioned, is the legal client portal. What is a legal client portal? It is a portal that allows you to easily collaborate and interact with your business stakeholders and actually give them the opportunity to easily have information at hand much quicker, much more accurate, so that they are better served, that they can react more quicker, and that you are less disturbed, so that you can push back actually work to the business because they have easy access. The easy access need, of course, to be intuitive for them as well. So the interaction or the integration with your overall intranet, whether it's in SharePoint or anything else, needs to be possible, of course, to support the easy access to such a portal that actually captures automatically also what questions are asked, what kind of departments are asking questions, in which context, etc., so that it enables you to also report on that, to have the necessary KPIs to improve. And again, there you come to the the elements that you can use towards your C-level to prove that it's needed to have such a digitalized system supporting you in your activities, because you will be able to create KPIs. Your C-level is annoyed because legal cannot come up with KPIs. They need to be monitored, but they don't have them. Tools like this can give you the necessary KPIs for KPI monitoring and enabling you to become better as an organization and definitely as a department.
And then as a last step, things that then pop up is e-billing and the legal spend management, mostly in the context of litigation management, sometimes also in the context of just contract management. KPI reporting, of course, specific KPIs are defined for each type of legal solution, because your KPI on litigations are different as on contract management, as on entity management, and so on. And then a next step where legal departments are more and more looking into as a future development is the automated governance, risk and compliance monitoring. Since regulations, laws, standards, certificates, all those things become more and more complex. So there is also capabilities built in matter management to deal with this type of questions, and that will be extended later on in the future as well, since it's a growing need as we see in the market.
Indeed, Hans. And as I just mentioned before, KPI reporting is key for your C-level, for your top management to be able to take decisions. Decisions that are well-founded, that are based on data, but how difficult it is for you to be able to provide data. You're into your day-to-day legal work, you're not necessarily occupied with KPIs. So you need a supporting system that automates that for you, that you are able to give regular reporting on what are the departments that are having most litigations? What are the costs that are involved? How can we improve this? How can we become a proactive department rather than a reactive one? And that way increase efficiency, reduce costs, maybe reduce the workload as well, to be able to do other things, extend your scope of activities so that you become a more proficient and efficient organization.
So that was the first step. Define your digital plan in a phased approach. Know that you need to spread it on multiple phases, probably multiple years. And in preparation, don't only look to your own team, but also look to your interactions with the business colleagues and the management. Then when it comes to selling to C-level, the four main topics we see is risk mitigation, is about increasing your legal service to the business. I'm not saying that it is not okay today, but everything can be improved and you can do it with less effort. A third topic is, of course, your efficiency and your effort that you need to do. And a fourth element that's playing more and more is about governance, risk and compliance. Let's dive a little bit into detail. When we look to mitigating risks, there are a number of elements, features that should be present in a solution to mitigate your risks. And if you can list them, especially for the engineers type of C-level, if you can list those features saying, with this, we can achieve this, then you have a strong argument. Some examples are notifications and alerts. So basically on key data, on dates, expiration dates, due dates, renewal dates, that type of, but also on risk profiles. So if you do a risk assessment on a certain matter, that result of that risk assessment is also used, combined with other parameters, to come to a notification on potential higher risks in certain project or certain matters. Also helping in reducing your risk is having a guarantee that you always will have a 360-degree view across all information sources within the organization on a certain client, on a certain project, on a certain topic, on a certain claim, so that you as a legal don't miss any information for your case. The same way, information is quite often lost. Documents, emails. We had in the past a customer who lost 2 emails and by that lost a lawsuit of $1 million fine that they needed to pay. So for them, as of that moment, each email had a value of $500,000. So preventing that information and emails that are important for contracts, for litiges, for claims, or whatever, are lost is also a very important element in mitigating risks. And then being able to find, because not all information is stored in one system, you need to be able to access that information that's stored elsewhere. If you have features like that in your solution, in your roadmap for the legal team, you can easily decrease your risks potential with a factor 2, because you will never lose notifications on alerts on important data. And at the same way, thanks to the find and the 360-degree view, you as legal are easily 2 times better informed on the topics. So helping you again to defend the case or to give arguments to the business colleagues. So mitigating risks is a topic that in the past was less important, but today with our customers, we see that it is gaining importance within the management, within the C-level. So take that into account, keep that in mind. If you had an example of a customer on this.
Yes, actually, going deeper on what you just explained, Hans, we have a customer, Schindler, probably well known to all of you, the elevator. So in most cases, when you take the elevator, it's a Schindler one. Pay attention to it next time you take the elevator. Now we can again. Legal counsel, head of legal, explained us that through the usage of our tool, the Knowliah solution, the Knowliah platform, he was actually able to prove towards his CEO, towards C-level, the reasons why he needed to invest in additional people in his team, but also the reason why certain departments needed more training when it comes to handling legal affairs and mitigating risk. Because through the tool, he was able to monitor what kind of departments were having most litigations, what kind of departments were asking most questions on certain topics, and that enabled him to become more proactive and actually educate people in his business, his internal clients, to avoid costs, to avoid risks. And not more was needed for his CEO to approve the continuation of the usage of such a tool and the further investment, because it actually returned on the investment very quickly. So a rapid return on investment, and what we see on average in globally is that C-level expects to have such return on investment in less than 6 months. So when you're digitizing, when you're introducing tools, always bear in mind that you need to be able to prove or be able to foresee a payback of your investment in less than 6 months. And not every tool can support you in that, of course.
Thank you, Yves. Now, the next topic is about your service level to the business. Time is gone that legal was an independent team within the organization. The business is asking more and more for legal knowledge. As a small anecdote, I was in the past president of the Engineers Association in Belgium. And one of the things I did each year was for the new educated engineers, give an open course on legal. And the engineers were very demanding for such a course, because in their education, in their trainings, they don't get in contact with legal topics. And as soon as they start working as a project manager on construction sites or in production or in process industry, they are always in touch with legal topics and they don't have enough knowledge. So spreading information and knowledge to your business colleagues will be much appreciated, because they are asking for that type of information and that type of knowledge to do their work better. So don't think that they are afraid of legal subjects. They are really demanding on that. And in that same context, you can do, as Yves called it, a certain type of pushback of work to the business. For example, by building intelligent contracts with conditions and fields and things like that, you do proactive work. Today, in most cases, revising and approving contracts is reactive work, and you need to deal with a lot of details. You can do it smarter by doing it proactive, by defining smart intelligence templates. Let the business do the basic work, and then at the end look on what clauses they did modifications or not. And you can focus on those modifications only. The same with questions, answers in a knowledge base. There again, you can give access to your business colleagues. Don't be afraid. They are smart enough to understand them. But of course, you, as a legal, you will always give a kind of precaution or a condition that the context can be different and that the interpretation can be different. But it already helps to give your business colleagues a certain level of legal knowledge and to increase your service level to the business level, to the business colleagues easily with a factor 2. You also have, excuse me.
Yes. Yes, Hans, indeed. Another example of a customer case of a company which is called Allnex. It's a chemistry company with HQ in Germany and in Belgium. Their general counsel EMEA introduced the Knowliah application a couple of years ago, and they deployed it worldwide. So they have users in legal across the globe, ranging from China to the US to Europe and Africa, where they use decentralized matters to enable them to actually have information at hand. Like Hans mentioned, if you don't have access to the information that you need, you might lose court cases, you might have serious problems when it comes to risk, you might have contractual issues. So you need to be able to centralize it in an automated way, but also enable you to actually find information, regardless where it's sitting, even if it's not centralized, because you cannot centralize everything. So you need to have a search capacity on different sources, enabling you to actually have that information at hand to be able to reuse it or to use it for court cases to enable you to get your deal or get your proof with the right information and relevant information that you have at hand.
Thank you, Yves. A next element, what you were voting as the most important one, is about efficiency and about financial elements. Now, on this, you need to be careful. What do I mean? You can easily build up an efficiency business case. We can help you in that. We have templates on that. integrating elements on finding, storing, managing, creating, and processing of your legal matters. And at the end, in a team of 10 legal professionals, you easily, as a net gain, you easily end up with 100K for 10 legal professionals. Taking into account two important elements. First of all, not all legal solutions have the same degree of efficiency gain. If there is no strong enterprise search integrated, you will not gain from the first topic. If there is no proven auto-classification engine integrated, you will not gain on the second topic, and so on. So that's the first precaution. Take into account the features, the capabilities of the chosen tools that you want to implement. A second topic is about the achievability of those efficiency gains within your organization. So that does not depend on your legal team. It rather depends on IT, management culture, styles, management style within the organization. So on average, we see sometimes it's only 25%. Most cases, it's around 65 to 70% achievability of realizing this. When you discuss with a C-level, immediately mention that you incorporated just a factor like that, decreasing your efficiency gain. And when we talk about 100K for 10 legal professionals, then we already took into account two factors, one on the tools, one on the achievability within the organization. Defining that, we have a small questionnaire, so looking to a number of topics within your organization to be able to define that.
Thank you, Hans. Another example of one of our customers, the moment that we deployed the system, so everything was accessible, everything was available, and during the training towards the legal counsel, there were about 20. The question was asked, now that you have all the functionalities, the search capacity, the ability to centralize information, etc., on what would you search today? Do you have a very specific question that you want to answer? And a couple of legal counsel mentioned the word Brexit. It was at the time very hot topic. It still is today, unfortunately. So the search was performed through the Knowliah system on Brexit, and a lot of information came up. About 300, mainly email. So 300 items, 300 search results, mainly email. They were quite astonished that they had that much information talking about Brexit, but did not know at all what the information was about. And through the intelligent algorithms, immediately came up that there was information of Brexit related to Czech Republic. And opening that information, they saw a report, an analysis that was done to see what the impact of Brexit was on their activities in Czech Republic. So they had that report at hand in a couple of seconds, and it was quite interesting to them. Why? Because they were about to reassign a very expensive analysis to one of the big four companies to analyze the impact of Brexit on their activities in Czech Republic, because they did not know that that report was already available in an email that was filed by their colleagues in Czech Republic. So they could avoid immediately the spend of a couple of $100,000 of euros. So the case was immediately made towards their management, towards C-level, to prove that the importance of digital tools supporting them in their activities is actually there.
And then the last element where we see a raising interest in C-level 4 is governance, risk and compliance. Again, it's a new topic. They start thinking about it, they see it happening, but not all C-levels are already sensible for this element. But also again over here, you as legal are very strongly involved in making sure that governance, risk and compliance is met within the organization. And again, you cannot achieve that if you don't have the proper tools and the proof that you did certain handling in processes and in matters. Now, all those elements, especially efficiency, can be translated into a business case. We did in the past a webinar, so you find it back on our website, on how to calculate your business case. So you can have a look to that again. Very important are the 2 correction factors as we raised. The business case is focused on efficiency gain because that's the easiest to measure. But there is also at the bottom a couple of elements when it comes to risk mitigation, service levels, and so on, that you can make an estimation for your organization, and then it will calculate and adapt your business case accordingly. So please have a look to that webinar again if you're more interested, or contact our sales colleagues who are very willing and happy to help you on this topic as well. So we spent the most time up till now on the arguments that you can use towards your C-levels. They are in 4 domains: efficiency, risk mitigation, service level, and governance, risk and compliance. Why are we integrating the 3rd step about realizing your plan? First of all, because in all those years, we developed a kind of best practice, helping our customers to have quick wins on digitalizing the legal team. But also, during realizing your plan and using and benefiting from digital systems, keep in mind that you should also list positive examples of using it and refer to your earlier arguments and your earlier business case to prove to C-levels, you see, we do what we promised. Better or worse, doesn't matter, just use it. Even if it's words, you will gain respect from C-level when you do so. So what's that best practice? It's about starting with what is called in the IT industry a minimal viable product. What is the quickest implementation you can do on one of those most urgent elements like legal operation or entity management or contract lifecycle management or others? To what degree do you want to implement it? Sorry. You can do a basic implementation up to the most extended implementation. So start with the standard ready-to-use configurations. It will give you a quick head start and it will give you benefits from low-hanging fruit. In the next step, in that same context, you need to ask to yourself, what do we do with legacy? Do we import legacy or not? Also on this topic, we had before the summer, earlier this year, a webinar. So if you want to re-look to it or re-study that topic, have a look to that webinar. And then you can start optimizing and integrating. So you have your minimal configuration. You have imported your legacy content or not. You can start using it. From start using it, you will experience what's going well and what's going less good, where you need an adaptation in regard of your used way of working. And so in that regard, in this step, you have three main topics. You can customize your legal matters with extra fields or hide fields, extra tabs, sub-forms, extra types of information, extra reports, whatever what's needed linked to your way of working. But you can also optimize by integrating with other systems. For example, you have a list of counterparties. Counterparties are also known in CRM or ERP systems. You will not manage it separately in your legal matter system. So you can set up a link that your counterparties are populated coming from an ERP or a CRM system. ERP and CRM are also generating documents that are potentially relevant for your legal matter. So also over there, you can set up easy integrations, taking over that information into your legal matter. And then the fourth element on that is about security. Know that within your organization, within IT, they are busy with Active Directory or Azure Active Directory or other systems where they manage users and user rights. If they do so, we can easily link, and we call it, or it's called in the industry, federated authentication systems, so that again, you have a single sign-on, users don't need to log in again, that we take over the groups that they are already defined with their roles and so on. So you have potential optimizations and integration when it comes to links to other systems. And the last element is about search connectors. You have SharePoint file servers, other database systems where documents and emails are present. We don't need to migrate all that content to our system. Just by adding a search connector, we are able to search within those environments, within those sources, and present a consolidated result to you as a legal within the legal system. Once those things are done, you can use and benefit. And in your benefit, keep in mind, register the positive, even the negative things, and use that as a feedback on your earlier arguments, on your earlier business case, that you are realizing what you claimed to realize. So, also in the past, we did a webinar on the perfect digital workplace. It's aligned with what I just told. And also over there, we were much more into depth about this implementation process. So if you're interested in those details, please refer to that webinar, relook, restudy for your case. So we started with your phased approach, spread in time. There are 4 main domains of arguments you can use towards C-level. And we did a quick wrap up on the best practices on how to implement, start with a standard, integrate your legacy, your existing content, optimize and integrate if needed, and use and benefit and use your KPIs reports to prove that you are a positive digital team within the organization.
Thank you very much, Hans and Yves. So this was it for today. Perfectly on time. You guys received a lot of insights, a lot of interesting knowledge and practical tips and tricks. If you have any more questions, please do not hesitate to ask them right now in the chat box below. I've also put some very interesting links in there. It are about white papers, webinars that Hans talked about that you can easily rewatch after this webinar as well. And of course, besides the fact that we are very curious to see which type of questions that you have in mind for us, we would also like to know how useful this webinar was for you. Seconds. Please give us your opinion. If you give us a 0, it means it was not useful at all. If you give us a 5, that means that it was for you very useful, this webinar. So I'm going to start the evaluation poll right now. I see the first votes coming in. We still have 5 minutes left, so take your time also to think about any questions for our digital legal experts. The presentation will also be available after the webinar. ECLA will provide you with the slide deck. So if you would like to check some things out again, no problem at all. You will receive all the information. I'm going to close the poll in a couple of seconds. I see the last votes coming in. 3, 2, 1. All right. So thank you very much. The digital legal experts received a lot of 5s, 4s, and also some 3s, but that means that it was a very good and interesting session. Thank you very much. We'll take that with us for our upcoming session. And thank you for your attendance and interest. You can still have a look at our website, the Knowliah one. When you go to the Learn section, we'll update it on a regular basis with a lot of new interesting webinars that we will organize with ECLA. And of course, on the ECLA website, all these webinars are made available as well. You can already register. It's a little bit early, but very interesting to share with you guys. Our next webinar will be with one of our new partners called Deloitte. So more information available on both websites that are mentioned here. I see that there's a question from Hannes Kraus. How were the factors for saving likely results calculated?
I'm busy answering
okay,
the
Hans.
question.
All right,
I'm
perfect,
typing.
perfect.
So maybe also as Seen just mentioned, please keep track of the new webinars that we'll be organizing very soon. The next one is, as Seen mentioned, with our new alliance partner, which is Deloitte, that selected Knowliah as a trusted vendor to go to the market with our solution, as they analyzed the market and came up with Knowliah as being the best solution to service their customers as well. And with that webinar, we're going to go deeper into data localization laws. Data regulation, which is a quite hot topic for quite some time, but very hot today because there is a lot of noise and uncertainty about how to localize your data. How can you store it? Where you need to store it? What can you do? What can't you do? Certainly, if you have a decentralized organization active in a lot of countries, but you want to have a central system bringing together information, also reporting, but you also always have privacy data and what to do with it, where can it be stored, etc. So it will be a very interactive and very interesting webinar with some top world experts from Deloitte on this particular topic. So do not miss that webinar and enroll as soon as you can.
Indeed, and you will all be invited also in the upcoming days for this interesting webinar. I think Hans answered the question of Hannes. If anyone still has a question, we have 1 minute left, so do not hesitate. And otherwise, after the webinar, if there are still some question marks from your side, I've put there all the information to get in touch with one of our digital legal experts. You can call them, or you can just send us an email or visit the website and fill in the contact form. I see that Someone is typing a question, so and it's gone. Okay, it was a thank you, very informative feedback from Sarah Campbell. Sarah, you're welcome, and we're looking forward to see you all back in our next session. Martin, the floor is yours again.
Thank you, Seen, and thank you, Hans and Eve, for another captivating session. To keep it brief, as you already mentioned, our next upcoming session is on the 28th. So we do hope that everybody will be joining there as well. And until then, I would like to wish everybody a pleasant day and all the best. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.